So your interview with Pierre Koffman, was it with him directly?
It was, yeah. Lasted about 3 minutes, I think.
Okay.
Literally.
I would love to.
I remember, I was wearing some probably dodgy outfit, dodgy suit, as you do.
Where was it?
It was at the Tom Claire.
Oh, wow.
And as I said, it literally lasted 3 minutes. I go in, I'm like, obviously nervous as anything. My hands are sweating. I'm like, this is the man. This is,
Yeah.
And I go in, like, I must have looked so nervous. I'm like, and I was told to sit down in reception and wait. I was just like, I was like, man, I don't want to see like I'm nervous with, sweaty hands.
Yeah.
Like this. And, 8 minutes, he comes in and he goes, do you want a coffee? And I thought, yeah, I better take coffee. So I had this espresso. It was like, strong and pretty disgusting. And, I just thought I better have it. And, he shook my hand and, he said, so I hear you want a job. And I said, yes, please. And he goes, something along the lines, are you any good? And okay, yeah, I'm good. And, okay, see you tomorrow.
That was it?
That was about it, yeah. That was about it. Like, lasted about 2 minutes, 3 minutes. And not to fight tomorrow, we'll see you next week or whatever. And,
yeah.
And that was it. And, I was like, okay, I got a job? Yes. And that was it, right? Yeah.
Was that normal for the way he would bring people into the kitchen?
Well, I think because David, David obviously spoken to him, but really at that point, there was so many chefs that if I hadn't worked out, there'd be another one and another one and another one and another one. So it didn't really matter, know. And I think he. It's funny because his kitchen as well was 90. Well, 80, I would say 85 to 90% all French.
Yes.
There were no English. So I think he was probably quite interested in taking, a couple of English guys writing completely French as well.
Because you spoke before about the kind of balance between the English and the French chefs.
Yeah.
In terms of the way the French chefs would probably be looking at the English guys as not being able to cook. I think.
Well, completely unbalanced, I would say. Yeah, they basically. Funny, they all came to work in London.
Yeah.
Yet, they completely, disliked, hated every sort of thing about cultural side of English cooking. In terms of, what was predominantly, I would say, as I said, a French brigade. But, the atmosphere. Everyone spoke in French. But I think they just had it in their heads that the English couldn't cook. They liked everything well done. There was no sort of history about English cooking, it was all out of a packet or it was all, processed or whatever. So, there was me and a couple of one other English chef at that time. So we got a lot of shit, yeah. And basically the guy that I was put with, Laurent, his name was, I didn't know what his surname was, it was just Laurent. We didn't speak, like literally. I worked on the larder section for 3 months and we didn't speak literally. We because I was taking over from him and he was like at that point in charge. He would do the mise en place list, he would write it, and then we would just cross it off as we got through it, and we never spoke, never. Because
the Pierre Koffman's kitchens were known to be quite quiet. Am I right in saying that? In terms of
no,
they weren't. They were loud.
They were quite a lot of
Oh, really? And was that different from cabinets?
French people? Yeah.
Was that a different environment to what you were used to?
Well, no. David's was quite testosterone pumped, that's for sure. But I mean, there was less people, and there was only like 6 of us, 5 of us in that little kitchen.
Yeah.
We only did like 15, 20 covers at best.
Wow.
There it was like 50 plus. So completely different scenario. A lot more chefs, and the French typically tried to stitch us up pretty much every day.
In what sense?
Oh, they would, if we had something that we made and put it in, they would try and put something there to fuck it up. Or if we put something on the stove, they kind of, put it in the center and it'd be burnt. Usual school tricks, put some salt in.
Did that ever deter you from kind of...
No, I gave back, for sure I did, yeah.
You're just going to not say what you did publicly, fair enough.
No, but listen, at the end of the day, it was a great kitchen to work in because again, I think Pierre could see that, you know, having to work in that environment above the others, because they just really, you know, were trying to downtrod on you all the time, and you know, to be in that and to persevere was, you know, was pretty tough. And and I said he himself was not, you know, was not an angel at that time. So it was, you know, it was a hard kitchen, and I think because he could see that we persevered, you know, every 3 months he would move me, you know, all the time, like, into another section. And you know, I know full well that a lot of chefs in there, sometimes they stayed, you know, 6 months on a section rather than 3. So I was moved, you know, consecutively every 3 months. And it's funny, when I was then moved to the fish section, I literally had a freaking heart attack, because, you know, I had not at that point really done any proper fish prep, apart from, you know, some mingy lemon soles at college, you know, like, you know, or some farmed salmon, you know. And here I was on the cusp of, you know, of cooking in a 2-star restaurant, cooking fish to order, which I'd never done before. I mean, can you imagine? I'm like, then got to, okay, I had a handover of like a week with a French chef who hated me. You know, I had to make
22 at this point. How old are you?
21.
21.
I had to make my own sauce. I had to do all the fish prep. You know, I hadn't seen a live scallop, let alone fucking shelled one. Prepping wild salmon, prepping wild sea bass, prepping langoustine, lobsters, filleting red mullet, like all of this was completely, like, you know, Martian to me. Like, and so I had to have a chat to Pierre, and I said, look, it's lovely that you've, you know, put me on the fish section, but I have to fess up, I've not filleted anything. I had to tell him, because I said I have not filleted anything since out of the college. And he looked at me, he says, when I fucking go, you'll fucking learn. I walked off. Fucking hell. Literally, that was it. So anyway, he kind of did take me under my wing. And, you know, and there was, I guess, you know, I had probably the best part of, you know, six weeks with him, and he helped me. And there was obviously a few butchered pieces of fish, which I tried to hide, you know, out of the way, because I, you know, a couple of wild salmon fillets, I know I had like completely fucking knackered out. I, you know, cut through the whole fillet, and, you know, there was just, yeah, a lot of things that just got hidden out of the way. But, you know, again, he tutored me into, you know, into the art of fish prep, and it was, you know, I soon got up to, I had good knife skills at least, and I got up, you know, I got up to speed pretty quick. You know, by the time I was on my own, you know, I could literally, you know, I could break down a whole wild salmon, you know, in like 5 minutes.
Bloody hell. And how long would that have taken you when you first got there?
Oh man, half an hour.
Flipping out.
Half an hour.
And that's just from a repetition, the pressure of doing it and just going consistently. Yeah.
So, you know, it was, you know, and I definitely, you know, there's a lot of bollocking. I overcooked fish, and, you know, didn't do it in the right pan or the right way, or the right heat, or, you know, there was obviously mistakes, you know, but you, as I said, as long as you didn't keep making the same mistakes. Yeah. And then also, you're kind of really also in the mode of service and listening and paying attention of when you cook your fish, when you start plating, and, you know, when you bring things up to the pass, and making sure that things go on the plate at the right time. And all of this I hadn't done before. So again, it was, you know, it was all, and then, you know, and all the, I guess in service, you know, people calling things out in French and whatever, it was, you know, it was like...
Did you speak French from being a kid? Like, obviously trying to...
I had, I guess, enough of a understanding of a little bit, you know, because I'd heard it and I'd spoken a bit. And so at least I did have a bit of that, Which I'm sure would have helped. Oh, it helped,